predicting every single Chicago Bears starter. What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL in here to talk about Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, hit that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. And guys, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Let's get into it. All right, so as I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the starters, I believe, for every single Bears position. And I'm going to do it for week one, and I'm also going to do it for the end of the season. All right, so basically, let's see what changes here. All right, so we're going to basically predict the starting lineup for the Bears for both offense, defense, special teams for week one, and then all the way up until the end of the season, who I believe ends up starting there. Does anything change? So we will start with the quarterback position, obviously the most important position in football. And we already know it is going to be Andy Dalton that is starting at the quarterback spot. Week one against the LA Rams. That is not going to be fun to watch. Andy Dalton is starting. And so really the only question is, do we see Justin Fields this year, by the end of the year? And that means he could start, anytime after week one. It's just who ends up being the starting quarterback at the end of week 17. Is it still Andy Dalton or is it Justin Fields? So I've already given my thoughts plenty of times on Andy Dalton starting. You guys don't need to hear me over and over again. But only thing I'll say is, obviously, I disagree with it. I believe Justin Fields should be the starting quarterback. Andy Dalton starting for this team does absolutely nothing for me. It's not like he's a 10-year quarterback that's been here for years. And it's not like he's some, a great quarterback that Justin Fields can learn from. So I don't think he should be starting. I think the Bears just guaranteed him that he would be the starting quarterback, and they just want to make sure they stick to their word, which is really dumb. So does Justin Fields start by the end of the season? I believe so. I don't see any way Justin Fields doesn't, folks, because Andy Dalton, I just don't believe in him. And so with Justin Fields, it's a matter of when, not if. And taking a look at the Bears schedule, to me, I believe, obviously, we know Andy Dalton's going to start week one against the Rams. Now, he could get hurt. That would bring in Justin Fields. But let's take injury out of the equation. Andy Dalton will play himself out of the starting quarterback job, and I don't wish injury upon anybody. So week one against the Rams, and I believe the Bears lose that game, and Andy Dalton will probably have a good part to do with that. He'll probably not play too well, and now you're 0-1. Week two, I believe they start Andy Dalton because it's only been one game, and now it's a revenge game against his former team, the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe they play him. The Bears probably win that game, but again, they could lose. But if they do lose, this is going to be, kind of naggy with one last start against the Browns that he tries to get Dalton going. And if they win, obviously he'll start him in week three. But week three is against the Browns. The Browns have a tough pass rush as well with Myles Garrett. You thought the Rams were tough. I mean, the Browns are just as tough, if not more. So Myles Garrett and that Browns defense will get after it. The Bears probably lose that game. And at this point, they could be 0-3, which I believe if they're 0-3, Justin Fields starts week 4. I believe he starts week 4. If they're 1-2, there's a chance we keep Dalton, and then you play against the Lions. Let's say you beat them, then you're 2-2. Then you play against the Raiders. Let's say you beat them. They're not very good. 3-2. And then the Packers, you lose to them. That's 3-3. The week after, you play the Bucs, 3-4. And then you play the 49ers. That could go either way. Let's say you lose. That's 3-5. Then you play the Steelers, 3-6. And now you've got a bye week. So maybe we see Justin Fields after the bye week. So earliest, week 4. Latest, after the bye week. But even after the bye week, we play with the Ravens. It's not like we have an easy opponent. So to me, absolutely we see Justin Fields. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of when, not if. Week 4, earliest, latest, bye week. All right, let's move on to the running back position. Some of these are going to be very easy, folks. They're not changing. David Montgomery is the starting running back on this roster. He is going to be the starting running back when this season ends. He is the most talented guy on this team at that position. It's not close. Wide receiver, Allen Robinson is going to be the number 1 wide receiver. The number 2 is going to be Darnell Mooney. Number 3 wide receiver is really where the question mark comes up. Right now, I have Marquise Goodwin penciled in as the number 3. By the end of the season, I believe he'll still be the leader for that number 3 spot. But Damiere Byrd, I believe, is a dark horse to maybe emerge as that guy. Marquise Goodwin's a one-trick pony in terms of speed, and so is Damiere Byrd to a certain extent, but I believe he's got a little bit more versatility than Goodwin. Now, I do think Goodwin is better, But I do think Bird will make it competitive. 1 and 2 spots are locked with with A-Rob and Mooney. Third spot's going to be Goodwin. I do believe Goodwin ends up being the number 3 wide receiver to end the year as well. All right, let's move on to the tight end position. We're starting tight end. At tight end, Cole Kmet. I believe he's going to start and finish the season as our starting tight end. We drafted him in the second round a year ago, and he is a guy who's got a lot of potential. So I believe Cole Kmet has a big year. I'm huge on Cole Kmet. He's our starting tight end, start to finish. The offensive line. Let's go through the offensive line here. The left tackle spot. Right now, I got Jason Peters actually penciled in at that starter spot, which is crazy because Jason Peters was just on the waivers a few weeks ago, and now he's on the Bears and could be starting for us. That's more of an indictment on Elijah Wilkinson than it is a praise of Jason Peters. Elijah Wilkinson's been awful, and so to me, he's been the guy starting at that spot, but he hasn't been doing really well, so I think they plugged Jason Peters in. Now, this is the spot where by the end of the season, this is Tevin Jenkins' job. Tevin Jenkins, if he was healthy, would be starting at that left tackle spot. I believe Tevin Jenkins, by the time we see him, which is probably sometime after week 10, he'll be the guy at that spot, starting for the Bears. He's the future at that left tackle spot. So starting the year, Jason Peters, ending the year, Tevin Jenkins. Left guard spot, Cody Whitehair. I believe he starts and finishes the year. So he's our best offensive lineman as of right now. Center, Sam Mustipher. I believe he starts and ends the year at the center spot. Then at the right guard spot, James Daniels. I believe he starts and ends the year at that right guard spot as well. He's also very solid. And then the right tackle spot, I believe Larry Borom starts at that right tackle spot. Could I see Jermaine Ifedi come back and take it? Maybe, but I think Larry Borom has shown enough to where I believe he sticks with this position. So we will have, by the end of the season, I believe, our 2 offensive linemen starting that we drafted. All right, so there you have it. Let's move on to the defense. All right, as far as the defense, not too much here that I think will change from start to end. As far as the D-line, Akeem Hicks, no duh. Eddie Goldman's coming back. He's going to be a starter, and so is Bilal Nichols. Those will be the guys on the defensive line. And I believe they will start and finish the year if they're healthy at those positions. Then we take a look at the linebacker spot, Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn on the outside. I believe, obviously, that is a shoe-in for those 2 guys. No debate there. Robert Quinn more so for the fact that we've paid him so much, more than production. And then the other linebacker spot, the inside linebacker, Roquan Smith, obviously, our stud linebacker there. And then the other one, this is kind of a toss-up here. I believe it will be Christian Jones to start the year, but could this be something where maybe a guy like an Alex Ogletree comes in and takes the Alex Ogletree? Maybe. Really, the other spots are all locked up. Mac, Roquan, and even Robert Quinn to a certain extent. It's really that 4th linebacker spot, so I think it's going to be Christian Jones. But maybe at the end of the year, he doesn't finish as a starter. We'll see. So that's who I have. And then finally, or second to last, cornerback spot, we've got Jalen Johnson. He's going to start and finish the year at the cornerback spot. And then the other corner position is going to be start by Kindle Vildor. And this is one of my predictions. I believe by the end of the year, it is not going to be Kindle Vildor. I believe we are going to get somebody off the waiver wire. We're going to make a trade, do something for the cornerback position, because I believe as we go through the season, we'll get torched so much so in the secondary, and especially guys targeting Kindle Vildor, that we look to upgrade that position. So I don't see him sticking around as a starter for all 17 games. Safety spot, Eddie Jackson, no duh. He's going to start and end the year. He's our stud safety at that spot. And then Tayshaun Gibson, who I'm also very happy with, I believe starts and ends the year at the safety position. So we don't have anybody else competing with those guys. All right, special teams, Cairo Santos starts and ends the year as our kicker. He's been fantastic. Pat O'Donnell, our punter. No questions there. Long snapper, Patrick Scales. Fine with that. Punt returner, I've got Damiere Byrd. I think he's a guy who's got that ability to do so. And then kick returner, Khalil Herbert. I believe he's going to contribute the most on special teams, more so than the running back position. Now, Tariq Cohen, when he does come back, I believe he takes over the returning duties here. So I believe these guys will not be the starters for the rest of the year. Tariq Cohen will come back and reclaim one of these positions. So there you have it, folks. All of my Bears starters at every single position to start the year at week 1 and then who I believe ends the year in Week 17. So let me know if you guys agree or disagree with any of them. Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks for watching.